This might be a terrible financial decision, but today we're starting a K24 project car. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of a brand new build series. My buddies and I are taking this thing from stock to something we're proud of, and I'll be documenting the entire process. To rewind back to the genesis of this project, we started this build because there's no better way to learn how an engine works than taking one apart and rebuilding it. To give ourselves the highest chance of success, we chose one of the most documented platforms on the internet, a Honda Civic. That kicked off the search for a project car, and eventually we found this gem on Craigslist. The seller had a 2005 Civic EM2 along with a pile of parts and a JDM engine he had originally planned to swap in. Life happened, priorities shifted, and the project had to go, which worked out perfectly for us. Notable things we got from the deal was the EM2 chassis, a JDM K24A engine, EP3 electric power steering, and an EP3 subframe. We also grabbed an engine hoist and stand from the seller, because if we're doing this, we're doing it properly, and eventually the plan is to tear down and bulletproof the engine. Now, on to my favorite part, the damage. How much did episode 0 cost us? Our total initial investment into this project came out to $28.36. Considering everything that was included, I genuinely think we got a solid deal. The chassis, the K24 engine, the supporting parts, it could have been a lot worse. Either way, $28.36 is what we're starting with. And from here, the only direction that number goes is up. Good morning, guys. Welcome to episode 1. This is where we actually start turning wrenches. With the engine already pulled, we had a rare opportunity, space, and we weren't going to waste it. The goal for the weekend was simple, get moving. We decided to swap in the EP3 power steering and subframe while everything was still wide open. Honestly, it ended up being easier than we expected. We started by disconnecting the outer tie rod ends from each knuckle. Each one was secured with a cotter pin and castle nut. Nothing too complicated. Once those were free on both sides, we moved on to the mounting points for the rack itself. After working those loose, it took a little finesse and some strategic wiggling, but we were able to slide the old rack out. Installing the electric rack wasn't too bad. The electric motor adds some bulk, so we had to carefully maneuver it around a brake line to make sure everything cleared properly. After that, we turned our attention to the subframe. We dropped the original unit and swapped in our EP3 subframe. Thankfully, this was straightforward. It's primarily secured by 4 main bolts at each corner. Once those were out, the swap was surprisingly smooth. And just like that wrapped up the first real weekend of work. So, how much did episode 1 cost us? Honestly, not much. The only expense this weekend was an extra bolt for our EPS bracket. Yup, that's it. This might be our cheapest episode yet, but don't get too comfortable. Next episode, the costs are guaranteed to climb as we dive deeper into the build.